How's everybody doing tonight? Hi, I'm your host, the lovable man, Cal. This is a gift from Doc Mac from Galloping Ghosts. Really a rare Ultraman from Japan. I can't imagine what the shipping was. It's fiberglass. And I'm North America's biggest collector of Ultraman. He's a Japanese superhero. I go to Japan several times a year. This is the rarest of the rare, and he found one for me. I cannot imagine what that cost. I've never seen him cheaper than $5,000. Look at, oh man, beautiful, beautiful. And behind me is a rare, right there, Pigimon, which you don't know what that is. Oh, and from my friend Monk9, this is a marshmallow dispenser. Do you know what this is? So you would eat enough marshmallows. You get this from Star Trek, and you could put it on your belt, and marshmallows would come out of it. So you'd fill this with marshmallows, put it on your belt. Spock had something like it in Star Trek 5. Really not as bad as they said. But is that 5? Whatever that one is. Okay. And what else? Tomorrow I'm working on my Morricone documentary. Morricone did all the great Clint Eastwood spaghetti Western music. And he also did The Mission and Cinema Paradiso. But he's most famous for Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And Billy Corgan is coming. We're going to work on the documentary. And he came to my house. And this is the new box set. I'm going to ask you. I want to treat this so delicately, but it is, I think, 15 pounds of vinyl. 15 pounds of vinyl. You would not believe the weight of this. This is Atom, the new Smashing Pumpkins masterpiece. And I have not opened it yet because I'm nervous about it. But there's a full radio broadcast in there with Bill Curtis and other legends, not me, which I don't know why. And here, take that too. And this is the box that came in. But if you don't have one yet, I think there's 2,300. And I think you will make your money on it. I'm going to buy one as well. I'm going to buy one to play and then buy one to put away. And very excited about that. So that's the new Smashing Pumpkins. 5. The complete set is 5 albums. They have lesser versions. And then one has his Salute to Pink Floyd, which is just a jam record. Jam! And I'm very excited about that. Do I have any other little goodies to show you? Yeah, some pretty good stuff there, though, huh? And I showed you the bird whistles. Oh, I had so Father Caswell came over from St. John Cantius, and I said, I've had this low-level headache since I got back from Peru. And he said, well, anything new in Peru? I said, no, I got some bird whistles and some stuff in the jungle, and I got the Amazonian death whistle. And wait, stop. Amazonian death whistle? Yeah. And anyway, he told me what I had to do. I had this headache I couldn't get rid of. I had this Amazon. It looks like a skull. And you can look it up. And please do not get one. Please. Ouija boards, tarot cards, all this shit brings nothing but bad stuff upon you. Energy workers, light workers. Well, my psychic can quote the Bible. So can Satan. I'm telling you, this shit is bad. And I had everybody on my show. I know them all. It's all of the devil. Sound like a church lady. Doggone if the church lady wasn't right. Remember when they used to tell us Disney was after our children and how really there was a bunch of sick pedophiles everywhere and they wanted our kids and they wanted to I'm not saying Disney's all pedophiles, although they've arrested too many pedophiles in Disney for my taste, but doggone it if they weren't right. I used to think there was crazy talk, and so did you. And doggone if the pedophiles aren't coming for our kids and grooming our kids. Where was I going with this? Oh, so Father Caswell said to me, you got to break it up and destroy it with a hammer and cover it with holy water. I said, I don't want to. Can you do it? So he took it. He said he's seen this before, but rarely the water boiled and the thing hissed at him. And it doesn't happen. It happened on this. And I had this in my house near my bed to scare the kids. Ah! Sounds like a scream. And he was chuckling. He said, Amazonian death whistle. What did you think that would be something good that you would want? So I filmed a rather long film for Vice, and it's going to air. They're telling me August 15th. And I don't know anything about the Vice channel. I remember the Vice show, and I've seen some stuff on Vice. Certainly, Vice is not something that I watch, and I try to keep it out of my life. Real Vice. And anyway, I put on. They had something about Rush, and it was hate spewer Rush Limbaugh. Oh shit. I mean, immediately. Rush Limbaugh filled with hate. He's a man filled with hate. Yeah. They never got it. The left never got it. Nor when I did this interview did they understand me. And I fought back. And And, just this very nice, and called later to apologize and thank me, but this so concerned. You have to get them all, or we're just going to have to take away your rights. You have to have the new global digital passport because we care. We have to take away. We know we have to give your tax money for reparations. And the interviewer was so kind and so vicious and just so. And I just went, oh yeah, you're wrong. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know if I should even be talking about it because it's probably going to be a real hit piece. Chris Stapleton, I hung out with the Pumpkins. We're recording in Nashville. I was with them. I'm going to be going back on tour with them. I didn't know Chris Stapleton was a big deal. He was a very cool guy. I went to see The Cure. Have no interest in The Cure. I had a lot of people. Billy went from the Smashing Pumpkins, and I had no interest in it other than my wife is a Cure fan. And I've had people say, not a Cure fan. When it was great. And it was great. Don't know anything about them, really. Certainly played their music, came up in that era like you did. Not a fan. But whereas the Depeche Mode show, would I put that in the same category? I would, maybe incorrectly, but that was very dark and demonic, and I couldn't wait to get out of there. The Cure was very sweet music. Seems like a very kind guy, and people laugh at him, make fun of him, but there wasn't one moment that I didn't believe him. And just this chubby guy with crazy hair and bad makeup is kind of his gimmick, and I believed it. I bought the act, and the music is musical. It's not like I thought it. It's just not what I thought it was, and I really enjoyed it. So my wife is giving me a thumbs up from the other room here. What else I want to talk about? If I could change the world, if I could do one thing, what would I do? I've said it before. I would get rid of the internet. I would push a button and get rid of all the social media. Just get rid of it. It's been horrible. I text my kids, and they don't text me back. Now, my friend Tom, if you text him, because he's paying for the phone and I'm paying for my kid's phone, if he texts you and you don't text him back within 5 minutes, you lose your phone for 24 hours. That's what I should have done with my daughters. But the thing is, I'm texting them. They're not texting back, and they're right across the living room. So it's unbelievable. Okay. New study out today. Blacks. This is going to shock you. Black people are very much for reparations. Getting $2 million each, $2 to $2.5 million each. Black people in America are very much. We have a guest coming up, by the way. I'm just rambling here for a minute. But blacks are very much for reparations. I know this one. No shit, man. Cal, are you serious? You're not going to believe this. Turns out blacks are for reparations. Nobody else is. No other group is for it. Shock the shit out of me, too. So you mean black people are going to let us give them each $2 million? They're with that. But the rest of us don't want to give them. I know. Is this a crazy ass world or what? Biden, every time I see him now, stumbling along, I just hear, I've got no strings to hold me down. He does look like he's like a marionette that has lost his strings, doesn't he? I've got no strings. Okay. And then the roads into Chicago. My friends, everybody, I'm driving. It's hell. It's bumper to bumper, and nobody's working. Why is every lane shut down? What is this? It's by design, and it's going on for years and years. And it's so you don't go downtown. And it's happening in every major city, liberal city on earth. They don't want your cars because of the environment. And so they want to make it as bad as it can be. And they want you to get used to sitting with the shitheads, the dangerous shitheads that you can't touch and you can't defend yourself because of their ridiculous gun laws. And they want you, and if you're a victim, well, you're just a victim because you're not a victim. The person that killed you is probably the victim. Anyway, the victim that kills you is they don't want you to drive. And so there's no rhyme or reason to it. And you sit there in your car and you look as you drive into Chicago and you are fuming mad. And it's all by design. And they don't want you to drive, period, further than 15 minutes from your house. That's what they're working on worldwide, the 15-minute global village. You don't leave. And if you want to travel, you've got to get special papers, and that's it. And you better be able to find everything within 15 minutes, or they're going to shut off your car. And it'll all be controlled. That's why they want these electric cars. With a gas automobile, you can drive and go where the F you want. With this new computerized battery car, boop. Also, the 5G towers, God, they're massive. What was wrong with 4G? I didn't have any problem with 4G. I have a problem with 3G. And why are they fortified like that? And people say, well, man, Cal, that's because they're able to broadcast. And if you look at them, they're able to broadcast what many believe, when we've seen it, and I used to play the audio all the time on my radio show. They're able to play this sound. I remember whenever they couldn't afford a monster on Star Trek, Shatner. The sound. It's a real thing. And so they will play a sound that will cripple you. And so when the Chinese come or whatever they have planned for us, or the phony baloney space aliens, or whatever that is, they'll turn on they'll turn on those 5G towers, and they are protected. Can you believe how they're protected? Like each one's a little military installation. Why? If it's just for cell phones? I don't know. And I really don't know that what I'm saying is accurate, but that's what I've heard from people. So it is something, isn't it? Black folks are for reparations. Everyone else isn't. Odd. Surprised me. 20 shot over this past weekend. Davy Crockett, born on a mountaintop and raised in a cave, partying and rocking is all that he craved. Davy Crockett, you know your history. His knife is for sale. Would I like to have that? Yes. I had a buck knife. Do you know the black solid blade buck knife? Do you know that knife with a bit of a curve to it? I had that as a kid, and I did everything with it. And God, I just felt so cool with that buck knife in the leather sheath. And I went back online and bought one. And, I'm going to be 27 coming up. My birthday's coming up June 21st. And I am going to be so cool walking around the North Shore of Chicago with a big knife on my hip. And I do these things all the time. And I just bought some. I used to be a beekeeper. I had 100 beehives. It was called an apiary. And I just bought this priest some beehives, and he's giving me some honey. That's the best honey I've ever had in my life, and Fox Lake area. And I'm going back into beekeeping. Just a total waste of time. I had a Black Angus cow last year. Lynn's took care of it for me, and I get some steaks, and I spend a bunch of money, and they store. It's nostalgia. I guess some guys get a car and a girlfriend, and I've got a buck knife, and I bought a Black Angus cow because I used to. At one time, we had many head of cows. So over here by the Forest Preserve, I don't know, is it my, I think it's my turn. And I went and I thought, well, maybe it isn't my turn. And there's a teenage girl. And you just, what? People are crazy. People are crazy. And in fact, our guest is going to help us with this coming up. Not yet. But people are angry. And I saw a guy today, and he had a sticker on the back of his window, and it said, "No war in Ukraine." And I was just talking about our roads driving to Chicago, and I drive all over America. Have you seen the people? Have you seen the bridges? Have you seen the trash? Have you seen everything? Guys, I travel the world. This is. Well, if you don't like America, you can leave it. And I used to be that guy. I used to be the guy that's still the best. It's still the best. And God, of course, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I love America. I love my idea of America. But we are in a bunch of stupid wars, and you're going to see. But this isn't the story. I'm going to get to the story. But we're to believe that the Russians bombed their own oil industry, and then they bombed their own dam. So they're crazy. Putin's crazy. He destroyed all his drinking water and their economic infrastructure. That's how crazy he is. Yeah, no, we did it, and it's two ecological disasters, and yet we can't have a gas stove. And the sacred borders of Ukraine, right? You've heard that, and yet our borders mean two things: Jack and shit. And Jack just left town, or Jose. And so yeah, we can't have a gas stove. So this guy has no war in Ukraine. And there's a guy sitting there in a Prius, and he's just ready to be triggered. And he's sitting there, and he sees it, and that goes against his programming. Woo! And he's triggered, and he's hitting his brakes behind the guy, and he's this close to him. And you can't say that. That's against the programming. And he's furious, and he's slamming his brake. And I get up next to him, and I honk, and I roll down the window of the guy with the Ukraine thing, and he looks over like, yeah, what's going on? And I go, hey, yeah. And now the guy in the Prius says, hey, him, hey, programming, I get it, you get it, get the extras. Man, some crazy ass people. And I told you my theory that blue hair dye makes women fat and angry. Check it out. Yeah. My father-in-law has brain cancer. and he has trouble hearing. And he's been sick, because of chemo and everything. And I'm at Mago, the Mexican restaurant in the Barrington Commons. Would you like some salsa? Would you like some salt? Would you like some extra salsa? And he's having trouble. And there's a guy next to me. It's not your fucking world, fuckface. Sorry. Everybody's so angry. And everybody really needs a good ass kicking. God, these people all need to be spanked more. With the new diversity rules, basically every Best Picture, 99% of the Best Picture movies couldn't win. The new diversity rules in Hollywood. So, look, everybody wants to nail a white chick. So you got a white chick, and then you have to have an ethnic lead, or a minority. So that's going to be a black guy. So that's our future. White women and black men. That's the rule. That's the rule. So no, I was just thinking, no Lord of the Rings, no Saving Private Ryan, certainly no Godfather. That's got Italians in it. Although the Sicilians are. Really, shouldn't they be a minority with the amount of, in them? I guess you didn't see true romance. So you're angered by the construction. It's all by design. Yeah, they're not working. Yeah, it's going to take for years, and they want it to suck because they don't want you to drive. They want you to own nothing and like it. You're being replaced, and they hate you. So how is that? No to the Ukraine war. I thought it was interesting at church on Father's Day. The priest was saying that sin is fun. Sin is fun. It is. Drugs are fun, man. I bet heroin. I never done heroin, but I bet it's good. But look what it leads to. What comes before the fall in the Bible? Summer? No. What comes before the fall? Pride. Pride comes before the fall. I'd like you to write me at Instagram and tell me, what do you think of all these churches with all the big pride signs? And was there ever a time when drag queens or homosexuals or whatever couldn't go everywhere? Now, I was on the Broadway stage. I've been in over 100 plays and musicals. I spent my life in the theater. And thankfully, rarely, I was the heterosexual, which meant the sad, lonely, hey, you're not that ugly girl that was in the play always ended up with me. I did very well in theater. I had a ball as a heterosexual. Same thing being a waiter in San Francisco and everything. I don't have any problem with gay anybody. I don't. To the victor go the spoils. Oh, you don't like icky women? Okay, I will. I do. I like them. I had a friend's wife on the last show, and I had to go to his house and talk to her. And I was sick for 2 days, just physically sick. And it reminds me back when people would say, hey, my wife hates you. Will you come over and talk to her at the table? What? Yeah, my wife hates you. Will you come over and talk to her? I mean, no. So my friend's wife, was very upset about. She took issue with some things I said here, and I went over and I talked to her, and and I just got sick. I don't do this show for my friend's wife. I have enough issues with my own wife, who I love madly. But I have enough issues dealing with, and you too, right? And now I got to be in that marriage. Well, I don't know. I tend to hype it up a little because I'm a guy, and it's a show mostly aimed at guys, and and she's cooking dinner, looking at me like, well, I guess and she's a beautiful girl. I like her. She's a friend, but I'm not doing this, and I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for you either. If you're watching it, thank you. Was it Meyer Tavern down the street here had a great French dip, and the waitress came around. I listen, I love it. I'm like, great. If you don't, I don't give a shit. I did that. I had to appeal to the masses. The masses are asses. They're morons. Look around. If you're watching, you're probably not. But my wife doesn't like it. Will you talk to her? What was I thinking? Man, Cal, you're number one, 18 to 34. That's what we hired you for. From Suicide Falls, Missouri. You're number one. Now we need you to be number one, 18 to 55. Okay, and then I'm number one. And we need you to be 18 to 65. Okay, and we need you to be, and this is my life in radio, and we need you to be 18 to 100 for women, for men. Yeah, I got. Now you're number one with men. You're number one with anything with a penis is listening to you. And we want you to be number one with 13-year-old girls. And what? What do I have to? I told you I was on a panel with a bunch of people. Phil Hendry, I think Phil Hendry. Dice is coming to town, by the way, Arcada Theater. But no, it's Phil Hendry and I think Stern and Rush. And they were, well, I think if we outreach to the children and maybe we get them to listen. And they got to me and I said, I don't give a shit. I love this story. It's one of my favorite stories in radio. What can I do? And I'm like 40 years old. What can I do to get children to listen? I don't want them to listen. I don't do a show for children, and I don't do a show for your wife. There is this redhead Capone who is friends with Jenny McCarthy, and she listens and sends great stuff, and hello to her. And John Fogerty was very complimentary, although politically I don't think we're the same. But Van Morrison, I don't know if he still is a fan of the podcast, but was an Uber fan. If you know who Van Morrison is, a legendary guy in rock. Do you know what woke stands for? Willingly overlooking known evil. Pride comes before the fall. And what do you think of churches that are celebrating Pride? Is it like I'm not saying this, I'm just asking. Is it like they're celebrating Sodom and Gomorrah? So, what do you think? My friend Larry over there, very excited. After 3 years of trying, his sister's finally pregnant. So, congratulations to him and his sister. So, you don't know me, but you don't like me. You say you care less how I feel. But many of you who stop and judge me, you ever walk the streets of Bakersfield? I did once, and it's a horrible place. Isaac Cappy. Do you know who that is? Look him up. Do you believe Isaac Cappy? That'll be a future show. How many liberals does it take to solve a problem? Nobody knows because it's never happened. But boy, they can sure make things worse. All my logins on my phone now are Kenny. My Kenny logins. He's coming to town, and I got tickets, and I've met Kenny several times. And Kenny's a sad deal because he wears a diaper. He's incontinent. So you can see it when you're watching him. Same thing with Ozzy, right? You know what? He always pours water on him. And when I interviewed Ozzy the day I believe that George Harrison died, and he was very weepy and sad. And he told me he had done a show that they say was very good, was testing very big at MTV. Little did we know how big the Osbournes would be back then. But I just remember Ozzy, from all the drugs, just pissing everywhere, all over the Drake Hotel. Just talking to me and walking and just pissing everywhere. Just leaving a trail like a slug of urine. That was Ozzy. So an AI preacher preached a sermon in Germany at a church. Boy, man, I'm a churchgoer. I love the righteous gemstones. I do love church. I do love God. And boy, am I seeing a lot of stuff that is not of God. And it's not popular anymore to not like this or that. So we want to be inclusive. Yeah, you don't have to love the sin. You can love the sinner. All are welcome. So, where did I see this? Winnetka or something. All are welcome. Did Winnetka not let gays in? Like 10 years ago, was there no gays in Winnetka? I mean, what rights are being violated? Because I really don't know. What am I missing? Where have gay people not been accepted? I know they're the richest group in America. If you break them down, they're very rich. If things don't work out perfectly for my little honey bunny, she takes half. If I'm living with my boy Dewey over there, his shit's already packed. He leaves. That's it. I keep what's mine. He keeps what's his. I just don't understand what right. I'm not being hateful. What all are welcome? When were people not welcome? When? I'm at church. There's a kid screaming, and I used to be able to throw my voice, and I would do it on a plane. Shut that kid up! Shut that kid up! And I'd look around, and at church I wanted to do that. Take the kid out! And I've had it in movie theaters too. Someone's standing there with a kid just screaming. Does the kid need Jesus? And I'm a monster? What do you think? Take the kid out! People at Jim Brewer. I went to see Jim Brewer. Some parts were very funny. Jenny McCarthy, the Myers Tavern people. I've just been hearing a lot of love about this. My girls are going to be off to college, and I will do it on a more regular basis. But every time we do it, we have great ratings. And I appreciate you watching this. We haven't gotten to our guests yet. We haven't started the show yet. Roger Stone suggested that we ask RFK, the government killed your uncle, JFK. They probably killed his father, RFK. Does he think they'll kill him? I was with a group of people, and I said, I read RFK's book. I've talked with him several times in the past. I like the guy. That's a Democrat. Maybe I could vote for. I don't know what it's going to look like, the election. And, no, man, what are you, RFK, Trump, you got Trump. Yeah, okay. Let's see if Trump gets on the ticket. This third world that we live in, they're looking to put him in jail. Total banana republic. And we'll see. I'm just saying that I like RFK. Is against this endless industrial complex of war. He's against the deep state and using the courts to punish people that you don't like. And he's against these forced, all of which I fought against. So just thinking about what I said earlier about how sin feels good. And, I try to avoid this stuff. I try to, we can evolve as we live. I think as we see art, we vibrate to a higher level. Been all over the world. West End is considered some of the best theater in the world in England, certainly Broadway. This West Side Story in Chicago at Civic Opera is as good as theater gets. A great American musical, great performances. They have turned one of the male performers into a woman to be woke. It's bullshit. I hated it. I held my nose, but the show's magnificent. The sets, the sound, the orchestra, the singing. It is the great American musical. One of the greats. Oklahoma, Music Man up there as well. And so if you're in the Chicago area and you'd like to do something really cool instead of the normal stuff, get over there. Also, having been to Peru and loved it, already booking my trip for next year. Tanta is a chain restaurant, Tanta. And the drink that changed my life is called the Pisco Sour. I did a passion fruit Pisco Sour. You can go in there. It's not exact, but it's close. And it's an egg white topped, Aragosta bitters topped, Peruvian brandy with fruit juice. The brandy is called Pisco. You want a maracuya or passion fruit Pisco Sour, and your life will be changed. This is the Lion's Den. I hope you knew that before you tuned in. This is where the angels and the devils fight and are choosing up sides tonight. Me, part man, part monkey, part mystery. And the angels and the devils are playing tug of war with my personality. Are you ready? Is everybody in? I said, is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. So do we have Doctor? Do we have Dr. Abloh or not? Do we have the doctor? I guess not.
We lost him. We don't know what happened. We just lost him like 2 minutes ago.
All right. No big deal.
All right.
Okay. Good night, everybody.